My name is Kamani, but you can call me Q. Please call me Q if you can't pronounce my name. That is one of my rules. I've decided to do that little intro because somebody commented on my last video. Thank you. Really appreciate you for taking the time to say something to me. And if someone comments on this video, we will decide if I add an outro. So today I wanted to talk about living in your truth, or at least what I have learned since living my own personal truth. I spend so much of my time trying to convince people to see my perspective. I just thought that, if I can make people understand the things that I've been through, the way that my brain works, how things have affected me, they'll finally accept who I am. Because remember, I'm coming from the background of being bullied, and whichever spaces I went into, I was just always picked on, or I was just always a bit of an outsider or an outcast, and I had no idea why. So I just thought, if I can make these people understand me better, they'll include me, because they'll see that I'm weird because of all the stuff I've been through. But the reality is that I never ever needed these people's acceptance in the first place. I never needed them to validate my experience in the first place. I neglected my own reality, my own lived experience, and my perspective, my real experiences. I started to believe other people. So people would basically imply that, they didn't think I had any real problems because I didn't share. I didn't talk about the stuff that I was experiencing and going through, in addition to the bullying that they were putting me through, extra torture. I started to believe them that, my problems are small, they don't matter. I started to believe them and deny myself and deny my own experience. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I do deserve the really awful way that people treat me. Maybe I do deserve the way that people treat me, especially if it's bad, because then it confirms all of those negative self-beliefs. I basically gaslit myself. By denying my own experience, I essentially turned myself into an unreliable source, that I can't even trust my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own experiences. And this is a very unkind and hurtful thing to do to myself. But I've really been working on turning my life around. The last few years, but especially these last few months, I have been so intentional about turning my life around. I feel like I'm getting to a point where I am okay with not being understood. I am starting to feel okay with the fact that I'm not on a traditional path, and I don't feel like I need to conform to societal norms. And because I've chosen this path, these very unpopular things, I have accepted that sometimes this is going to cause me to be isolated. But I'd rather be alone and commit to my truth. I also accept that I have the power to shape my truth and therefore use that to shape my future. I am ready to accept responsibility for the peace and contentment that I want to feel in my life. So I'm committed to myself. I'm committed to my own contentment and my own joy. But this will require me to be completely honest with myself about what I really want, especially without the influences of other people. But recently, I've noticed a really weird thing happening. The more I commit to myself, the more I feel like things start to work out in my favor. I am starting to feel okay with the fact that there are lots of things about me that just are not going to make sense. But in trying to make sense to people, I was limiting myself for so long because I needed to be understandable, or I thought I needed to be understandable, when the reality is that I don't need to make sense to anybody. I was also really surprised that, I'm not as hard to understand as I thought, and I've been surprised by the people who actually did understand me and get me. So, I don't know. Live your truth. Be honest with yourself about all the ways that you have denied your own experience and the way that it can actually hurt you. It can be very hurtful to not show yourself compassion for the things that you've been through and then supporting yourself in the ways that you need. I support myself in the ways that I need all the time now. Like, I literally mother myself. The parents that I wish I had, I've let go of that dream. They're never going to be those people, and it's fine. The friends I wish I had, look, I'll meet my people in the future maybe, but for now I'm trying to be that person to myself. And I don't judge myself for my needs, my wants, my desires. I give it to myself. I give it to myself as if I am that gentle, kind parent that I need. I become that person for myself because I just want to make my inner child happy now. And yeah, weird things happen to me all the time. Weird, magical, fun, scary, exciting things happen to me all the time. I am living a full experience that feels like mine for the first time in forever. I feel like I am the most myself I've ever been. I am probably the loneliest I've ever been, but I feel a lot more proud of who I am as a person. I don't go with the crowd just to earn their love and respect, because then I betray myself. And that is the worst thing that you can do. Because people who repeatedly betray themselves, it's basically like stabbing myself in the heart over and over again. And I'm, creating all these wounds within me and trying to get people to help me to patch them up. Or I'm cutting myself up for people, for their entertainment. I don't know. That sounds like torture. And I don't deserve to be tortured as much as I punish myself for my mistakes. As much as I continue to punish myself for my mistakes, I try to turn that around and say, I just need more compassion for myself. I didn't know any better, but now that I do, I can do better. I never wanted a conventional path. I wanted an interesting path. I wanted a true and honest path. And I think I'm finally doing that. If you watch this to the end, thank you so much. This was a little bit all over the place because I had some thoughts written down, conceptualized, and others that I didn't really have, but it's fine. I hope you were okay with listening to the ramblings of a girl, a 29-year-old girl who just wants to spread kindness and goodness while being real and honest and happy. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, keep being weird, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is.